Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Adult Child of Dysfunction. So, today I'm going to be talking about self talk and not the kind of self talk where you talk about affirmations and you force yourself to say, I am beautiful, I am loved, I am worthy, which of course we all are. Don't get me wrong. But I'm talking about the self talk or that inner critic that comes up when you least expect it. And it pops up and it's like this little thing sitting on your shoulder that's feeding you those little messages, and they can either be positive or they can be negative. So when I'm going to give you a quick example, when you make a mistake, you could either self say to yourself, I'm doing the best that I can, or you can say to yourself, I always mess things up. Which one are you? Think about that for a minute. If you make a small mistake, are you quick to jump on yourself? Or are you quick to say, it's okay, I'm learning, I'll do better, I'm getting better every day? So that's what I want to talk about today. Now, if you go back to episode 142, I believe, I talked about self talk that I was having during a stroke and how it showed me how far along in my healing journey I had come because my self talk wasn't negative. It wasn't defeating. It wasn't giving up. It was empowered and it was positive and it was hopeful. And that's one kind of self talk. But today I want to talk about a little bit something different. I want to talk about adult children of alcoholics and dysfunctional families and where that negative self talk comes from and kind of why we have it and different ways that we can beat it. I like to say that you have to have tools for everything. And if you've listened to this podcast, you know I'm big on tools. I'm big on having strategies that you can pull out of your box, that you can implement at any given time, and you can start to break these patterns and these negative habits and these bad habits that we have based on something that we were not responsible for, and that is your past. So, first of all, what is self talk? So, it's how you talk to yourself in your subconscious mind. It's the narrative that is constantly running through your mind. Now, unfortunately, so much of that inner critic, it's your inner critic, or it could be your inner happy critic. It's whatever it is, but it's that narrative that runs through your mind. And unfortunately, so much of that is not in your mind, it's actually in your body. So, what I'm going to be talking about a lot today is how we can get some of that out and how we can regulate our nervous system and how we can bring those thoughts that pop up in an instant to be more positive. So we have the positive self-talk. Like I said, if you do something or you're struggling with something, your positive self-talk might be something like, you got this. I'm so proud of you. We can do this. We got this. 100%. Go for it. Negative self-talk would say something like, you always mess things up. You're always going to make mistakes. Or, of course, I screwed that up. That's just who I am. That's your negative self talk. So, why do I talk about this today? I talk about it because adult children of alcoholics and dysfunctional families have a lot of inner critic conditioning, and that is what shapes our self talk. So, a lot of times we felt responsible for adult emotions and we had to be the bigger person and we had to stifle our emotions. And so we were always the caregiver, and that was taking out the it was taking on a responsibility that a child never should have. We felt the love felt conditional or inconsistent that we got. So while we might have thought something and we might have quickly had an initial reaction to be positive, sometimes that wasn't always validated or it wasn't always heard. And so it kind of made those feelings of positivity go away or get pushed to the side, or we thought they weren't valid anyway. So we didn't bother to think them again. Also, when you are hypervigilant as a child growing up in a traumatic environment or a chaotic environment, often we abandon ourselves in general. So the beliefs that we come out of a childhood with are things like, I have to be perfect to be safe. If I speak up or voice my opinion, it is going to cause problem, or I'm too much, or maybe I'm not enough. So all of these things, I'm not good, I'm not worthy, I always mess things up. These are all black and white thinking that children should never have to deal with, but unfortunately we do. So now how we deal with those thoughts as they pop up because they're buried so deep in our subconscious minds and they're going to start popping up over and over again. So, how we deal with them and how we manage those thoughts now is in your control. How they develop, we're not in your control. And what do I always say? Let's work on the things that we can control. We can't think about the past. It's done. It's done. It's done. It's done. Those thoughts were ingrained in us. But now, as they creep into our everyday lives, we can learn to manage them and we can learn to manage them positively. Now, what I like to do is do things that, because I truly believe that every emotion, every thought, every belief, every memory, everything we have is stored not necessarily up here, but in our entire body. It's stored in a nervous system. It's stored in our organs. It's stored in our tissues. It's stored in our mind, our body, and our spirit. So I like to really use some somatic practices or body-based healing techniques, I guess you could call them, that can shift that inner dialogue because it's all so deeply connected, and how we feel things and how we react being stored in our body. If we could just get it out of our body, it will get us out of that vicious loop of negative thinking. So when you do this and when you use these somatic practices, you're doing a couple things. Okay, you're regulating the nervous system. You are going to interrupt the automatic inner criticism. You're going to cultivate in your own body a sense of safety. How many of us would love to feel safe in our own body? How many of us would love to be able to hug ourselves in a moment of crises and say, it's okay, you're safe now, and truly be able to feel it, to feel your body melt into your own arms? That's the kind of safety I'm talking about. And then also, we want to be able to reinforce self compassion, not from the outside, but from the inside out, and truly learn to love and trust ourselves in our own body. So, how do we do this? You're probably wondering, that's great, Tammy. All this is wonderful, but how do we do this? I'm going to give you a couple exercises, and they're all kind of in different various aspects of what you do and how you move your body. The first one is just grounding through your feet. Connect with the earth, connect with your being in the universe. Just connect. And you can do it so well through your feet. I love to be barefoot. I literally, when I do grounding exercises, I can literally feel the energy tingle in my feet when they're on the ground, planted firmly, and I'm grounding myself. So this best way to do this, sit or stand on the floor, feet flat on the floor, press your feet down gently and be aware of the contact, be aware of you touching the ground. And the reason for this is because it's pulling us into the present. Because where do we get those feelings of the inner critic? Where are those things coming from? They're from fear and anxiety and stress and guilt and shame and all of that from the past. So if you can pull yourself into the present, you can regulate your nervous system by getting out of the past and stop catastrophizing about what's going to happen in the future. So feeling the grounding, it just reconnects us with the present moment. And it's such a good feeling. While you're doing that, you can just say to yourself, I am here now. I am safe. Very simple. How hard is it to say to yourself, I am here now and I am safe? But feel it while you're doing it. Feel the grounding and feel the calm come back into you. The next one is a little bit of a self-compassion activity where we want to love ourselves. And very, very simple. Put your hands, one hand or both hands, on your heart. Just put them on your heart. Put a little pressure there. Feel the pressure. Take 3 slow, deep breaths in and out while your hand is on your heart and say something positive. I can see you. I can feel you. You're doing your best. It's okay to rest. It's okay to be you. You're amazing just the way you are. But putting your hand on your heart, can't see, my hands are actually on my heart if you can see this, but putting your hand on your heart actually will connect you to your heart center. And that is a very calming feeling. The next one is not so calming, but it also does the same thing. That's a shake it out. That's a way of releasing that stored tension. Just shake whatever you want to do it. Shake your arms, shake your legs, shake your whole body. 30 seconds, 40 seconds, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, whatever it is. You shake like a dog because that's how they get their emotions out. That's how they get rid of their anxiety. Do you ever notice when a dog gets in a dog fight, the first thing they do after a fight is they shake. And what does that do? It regulates your nervous system and it gets some of that physical energy out. It also breaks you from that freeze fawn response. You're not frozen anymore, you're moving. And that is such a good feeling to do that. While you do that, say to yourself, I don't have to hold this all inside. I don't have to do that. I can move, I can get it out of my body. So make this something. If you're uncomfortable doing this in front of people or around people, go in a room and do it. But I promise you, you will notice a difference in your energy level, in your anxiety level, everything, when you just shake and say, I don't need to hold this anymore. I can get rid of this. Another one, and another way that we can kind of get into our own bodies and reclaim our voice and know that we're being heard, is vocal toning or humming. So I know it kind of works. The difference between, I know a lot of people say, well, when I'm happy, I sing, but humming is actually even more beneficial for your nervous system. And the reason is because that hum with me right now. Put your hand on your chest when you do it. Can you feel that vibration? Okay. Well, that vibration is going right down to that vagus nerve, which literally runs down your entire body. And the vagus nerve responds to sound. So it responds to that vibration. So a lot of times just this humming, it kind of connects you back with the fact that it's, I don't know how exactly to describe it, but it restores the fact that you are calming that internal chaos. While you're doing it, say, my voice matters, I matter, I'm safe, but do it while you hum. You'll notice a lot of people, even if they're having like a small, little bout with anxiety, or they're in an anxious state, sometimes just will calm you. Ground your feet and hum, and it's very, very, very calming. So, and it's a way to reclaim your voice too. You're saying, I'm heard. I mean, if you can do it in front of people, more the merrier, like more power to you, because it helps everybody. And, another thing we were talking about today, well, I'll get into that later, but we were also talking, one of my friends and I, we were talking about how what you think about and your negative or your positive thoughts, you're putting them right into the universe too. So all of these times that you can refocus all of these negative self talk that comes to you, when you put that out into the universe as something positive, you're spreading positivity everywhere, my friends, everywhere. So I know I'm saying a lot to say a little, but these are just some practices I really like. I have a tactic that I use, and I just call it my nip it in the bud tactic. Okay. Because we have those thoughts. How long does it take for a thought to bury itself into your long term memory? It takes a minute, right? So if you have a thought, your brain does a couple things. It takes the thought, it thinks it immediately. You're going to have some kind of reaction to the thought. And then in just a few seconds or a minute or 3 minutes or whatever it is, it's going to basically decide, do I need to hold on to that thought, or do I need to make room for some other thought to come in? Is this important enough for me to hold on to? It's basically what it does. If you can get rid of the thought immediately and replace it with a positive thought, then there's a better chance it's not going to be stored in that long-term memory or get dumped back into your subconscious programming, right? So, example of how it works and how I'm just going to go through actually an example of how in reality these negative thoughts take hold and spiral into this guilt, shame, whatever loop that we get stuck in and we get ourselves stuck in. So I'm going to give you a thought. Okay. So I spill something and my thought is, oh my God, I'm so clumsy. Right? The first thought. That's okay. If you let that go, what's your next thought going to be? I can't do anything right. Why do I always make mistakes? What's your next thought going to be? I always make mistakes because I can't do anything right. I'm just like that. That's just the way I am. I suck. This is literally a spiral of thoughts, and you're going deeper and deeper and deeper. Now you're starting to pull out other things. Well, I suck because remember the time I did this, and remember the time I did that. And oh my God, I'm horrible. Like I'm just not a good person. And it all gets down to these guilt and these shame and these unworthiness and all these feelings that nobody on this planet deserves to feel. So this is my nip it in the bud tactic. Catch yourself. The minute you have your thought, when you spill that glass and you go, oh my God, I'm so dumb, stop yourself. What did I just say to myself? I'm so dumb. Catch it. Just notice you said it. Name it. Name it. That's just ridiculous. That is shame. That is not truth. That is not who I am. I'm not dumb. I made a mistake. And then disrupt it. Do something physical to disrupt that thought. So whether you shake your hands, punch your arms together, place your hand on your heart, take a deep breath, whatever it is, you have to physically disrupt the thought. And then you have to reframe it with a truth statement. So something like, why did I do this? I'm so dumb could be, I made a mistake. Everybody makes mistakes. I'm perfect just the way I am. Or I'm not dumb. I just made a mistake. I'm working on getting better every day. But that's the process. You have to do it quickly because otherwise it's going to snowball into this. Or even if you just sit with it, if you say, I'm so dumb, and then you just sit with that, what's the last thing your brain heard? And now it's holding on to that thought for 2, 3, 4 minutes. Now you're thinking, I'm so dumb. So I like the nip it in the bud theory or my nip it in the bud tactic because it does not let those thoughts take hold. Eventually, you're going to immediately learn. And this takes some practice, guys. This is not something you're going to be able to do right away. But awareness is the first key. So I'm going to re-go over those because I want you to practice it. Let me know in the comments next time you do it. Come back, put in the comments what you did and how you stop that thought. So again, awareness. What did I just say to myself? Catch it early. Catch it quick. Stop yourself right there. Pause and name it. This is not me. This is fear talking. This is shame talking. This is something that was told to me when I was younger. This is not truth. Physically disrupt it, either shaking your hands, tapping your collarbone, placing your hand on your heart, whatever you need to do. Take a deep breath. Physically disrupt the thought and then reframe it with a truth statement. I am getting better every day. I make mistakes just like everyone else. I am fine just the way I am, whatever that truth statement is. And that is I call it my nip it in the bud tactic. After a while, you will find yourself not spiraling down those loopholes of going deeper and deeper and deeper into how you are not perfect. Because let's face it, guys, perfectionism is just another one of those things that comes up with being an adult child. We were taught we had to be perfect to get love. We were taught we had to be perfect so that we didn't rock the boat, so we didn't have to walk on eggshells. If things were perfect, things were better. If things were perfect, you were safe. The reality of it is we're not perfect. We make mistakes. We do silly things, but they're all there to learn from, and they're not there to beat ourselves up from. And I promise you can fix that negative self-talk and you can start to think more positively. So I challenge you. I would love for you to jump on. If you go to the show notes, you can jump on to get 2 weeks of my free group coaching where we jump on in the morning 3 times a week. We just ask questions. We talk about a little topic. It's super fun. I'll give you 2 free weeks so that you can just try it out and see. Sometimes there's one person on there. Sometimes there's 5. It just doesn't matter. We just go when you need the support. I'm here for you 3 times a week. And you just kind of jump on when you want, but sign up for 2 free weeks of that and come in and share your experience. Tell people what you did to stop that negative self-talk. We also talk a lot about it in my course, Trials to Triumph. I like to make it easily accessible and affordable for everybody to start breaking these patterns. Because, guys, there's patterns that you did not deserve to develop. They developed when you were younger, when you had no control. But now we're taking back control. We're starting to break these habits and break these patterns. And if you need tips and tricks and tools, that is what I'm here for. Whoa, easy for me to say. So anyway, I would love to talk to you guys more about this. Jump on, check out my links, grab the freebies, whatever you want. Until then, remember, be aware, Name it, disrupt it, reframe it. Be aware, name it, disrupt it, reframe it. Four-step process. You can do it with every single negative thought that you have and turn them into positive thoughts. And what happens when you have positive thoughts? You have a positive day. Thanks, guys. Love you all. Talk to you soon. Bye.